Hey guys, Alana here from W1N, and as you know, I love talking about interesting people who can either help our audience or who've worked in the mining industry. And my guest today is basically we have had to go out and source somebody because, as you know, one of the key things is getting into the mining industry. And we've got a lot of overseas clients who contact us and they ask about visas and sponsorships and how you get recognition of prior learning, and that is not our forte. So what we've done is we have engaged a professional migration agent who is joining me today. He's from A4 Consulting and his name is Lilash. Lilash, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alana. Hi, my name is Lilash Yadav and I'm a registered migration agent here in Sydney. And my company name is 4A Consulting Services and my migration number is 2318244. And basically my background is I was a trainer for last 7 years. And during that time, I had the issues that students were coming out and having different sort of problem regarding the migration stuffs. And so that's how I started my migration practices. I went to UTS, completed my master graduate diploma in migration law last year, and started got my registration and started my migration business.
Fantastic. And I'll tell you what, you've been a godsend even since we got you on. The changes in legislation and everything, it is so good to have somebody who's got their finger on the pulse and know exactly what's going on, because God knows that's not my forte. So yeah, thank you very much. So what we'll just go through, Lilash, is some of the most commonly asked questions that have been sent in by you, the people that are watching this now, whether it's in YouTube, Facebook, the TikTok channel, whatever. So we'll just start off with one of the most common ones, which is how long does the visa application process take?
Okay, the visa application process, it depends on the set of visa itself, first thing, completeness of visa. So basically it can vary from the day one up to 2 years as well. So it depends on different kinds of visa. For example, if it's a working holiday visa, it can take from 1 day to 2.5 months. Similar to temporary skill shortage visa, it can take from, for short term for subclass 482, it's from 2 weeks to 10 months. And it depends on how much application the department is still processing. So normally we do go and check the department website, so how long normally the global processing time is.
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
Would you say, or is that dependent on what country and visa the person's coming from and what visa that they want?
Look, it's basically a first come first service. Basically it works like that, and it depends on how complete the SS like the whole document is, right? So it depends on the documentation. I had one incident where subclass 190, usually it takes 12 months to 13 months for a applicant to be granted, whereas for me with my last company, it was granted within 2 hours. So we were also amazed. So it really depends on everything, how you put down the application. So it includes health assessment as well for the working holiday or any visas which is longer than 6 months. You may need to go for the medical checkup prescribed by the department itself. So it depends on what are the criteria. So it can vary from 1 day to maybe 6 months or 7 months as well, or even more than that.
Yeah, and that's a question we get asked a lot as well. Like, how long does the mining onboarding process take? And it's kind of like, how long is a piece of string? Who knows? There's so many different factors. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Tell me, one of the most common questions that we get asked is, what type of visa do I need to work in the Australian mining industry?
Okay, so basically the visa type is any visa that has a work right. Basically, I guess for the mining industry, most of the employers, they ask for the full-time work, right? So temporary skill shortage subclass 482, which is employer sponsored, that can be one of the good visa. There are all other GSM visas, which is general skill migration. It is point-based system. it's like the visa subclass is like skill independent subclass 189, skill nominated subclass 190, or even skill nominated visa regional, which is subclass 491. And basically there is other visas option as well, such as for certain countries, we have working holiday visa, where they can come and work for the employer for 6 months and they can enjoy for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And most popular one is postgraduate subclass 485, which basically you will get this visa after you complete 2 years of course in Australia itself. So that can be also another option.
Fantastic. And tell me, at the moment, what is the most highly sought after skills that the government's looking for so that they're fast tracking visas?
So for now, the government is looking for health sector, which is most wanted over here or most desired. Second is construction industry, as we know that there are lots of construction going on and we have a housing crisis. So
Yeah.
that is also the best occupation or best category to apply for a visa.
Yeah. So the health sector and predominantly
Yes,
construction.
construction.
Yeah. Fantastic. And that works really well for the mining industry as well,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes.
What about things like, I mean, specifically to the mining industry, we've found that some of the skills shortages sit around like HD fitters, auto sparkies, and all that sort of stuff. Have you found that there's been a lot of candidates coming in who have that skill set and are relocating over to this way?
Yes, like we do have shortage for the electrician, HD fitters, even in the if you go through the ABS, there they have told us that there is a huge shortage on those areas. And yes, basically if any electricians or any sort of HD fitters or those plumbers, even like cabinet makers, those are the occupation which can be employer sponsored as well.
Mhm.
And they can come here and work for the company for more than 2 to 4 years.
Fantastic. And there's been a couple of changes where it comes to age as well. Can you just explain the age factor?
Okay, for it depends on different categories. For example, for subclass 482, which is employer sponsored, as per the regulation there are no age limits, right? However, the government normally they choose or they give priority to those people who are under 45. Recently you have seen the news that for subclass 485 visa your eligibility was the eligibility was reduced from 50 years to now 35 years old, right? So
Yeah.
if you are less than 45, you can go for GSM visas, you can go for 485 visas. Sorry, you can go for GSM visas, you can go for employer sponsored visas, and we can work that out. And for like DAMA programs, those employers who are enrolled with the DAMA, they have got the exemption of up to 55 years old. So basically, more you are younger, more better for you to get the visa.
Yeah. Fantastic. That is one of the main questions that we get asked. Am I too old to get a visa? So thank you for answering that. Okay, what about what are the general steps involved in applying for a work visa, especially within Australia?
Okay, so I'll go from employer sponsor to GSM to other visas. Okay.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
for the employer sponsor, first you need to get the sponsor, right? So most of the part will be done by sponsor itself. For that, the sponsor should have the standard business sponsorship, which they normally do have. Now, after that, let's suppose if they are sponsoring you, there will be a nomination program where the sponsor will do the labor market testing by sending out the advertisement for at least 4 weeks or a month, and they seek the candidate if they are available on shore. So if they do not find it, they can nominate you or the employee overseas as well. So the criteria for the visa applicants should be you must have worked in the related field for at least 2 years for now. Probably it will change from November onwards as per the budget it was announced last time, right? So you must have 2 years of minimum work experience. Then you must meet the English language criteria. At this stage, it's for short term, it's IELTS 5, score 5, not less than 4.5. For medium term, it's 5 and not less than 5 for IELTS or equivalent. Now, there is another labor agreement in same category as well for subclass 482. In that category for English, it's like you must have the functional English to do that job. And basically, for labor agreement, the labor agreement itself has the criteria for English, which the applicant should satisfy. Other than that, you may be asked for the skill assessment. Some of the areas, some of the occupation like chef, cook, they have the mandatory skill assessment, whereas some other may have the exemption. And it depends on the country where you have studied or where you have worked as well. So it depends on really on each personal profile how the skill assessment works, or how will they ask for skill assessment or not. Now, after that, you need to meet the health criteria. You need to pass the character test by submitting the police checks, right? If you are onshore, you need to have a Australian Federal Police check. If you are offshore, relevant authority will provide you the police check. Now, another thing is for subclass for GSM visa. Now let's go to GSM visa. GSM visa.
And what's that? Just explain what it is.
Okay, GSM visa is General Skilled Migration Program, right?
Yeah.
So we have 189, subclass 189, skill migrant, skill point test, 190, which is nominated by the state or territory, and subclass 491, which is for the regional nomination. Okay, so
Yeah.
all of these are the point-based visa category. You'll get the point for your age, you'll get the point for your English, you'll get the point for your partner qualification as well if they have a skill assessment. Now, the mandatory thing for the GSM is you need to have a skill assessment. You need to have a competent English, which is at least 6 is band for IELTS or equivalent test. And you must be under 45.
Yeah.
So the basic minimum point that you must have is 65 to apply for the expression of interest in this category. So this GSM visa will take much longer process, because you need to get the invitation from the department, and you must wait. As per now, there is a huge backlog. However, for recently, what we have seen is there were invites for the construction industry, like carpenters were invited, electricians were invited, civil construction design, civil construction draftsperson were invited in 85 points. Okay, around 85 points. And now let's go to another category, which is working holiday and work and holiday visa. So those two are different category of subclasses. Working holiday is for some certain countries, and in that part you don't need to have like English requirement or anything like that, right? If you have studied, let me double check that one quickly. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
so it's lots of information.
I'll bet.
You
What's the
process.
general eligibility for a working holiday visa?
Okay,
Multiple citizens.
the first thing is you must hold the passport of eligible country, right? then you must be at least 18 or 30 years old. So
Yeah.
sorry, it's not 80,
80. What?
18 to 30 years old, and it should be inclusive. Okay.
Yeah.
And some of the country, they are exempted up till until 35. There are only few countries. So if you are applying it for the first time, you must not hold the working holiday 462 or 417. You must have the education requirement, and
Mhm.
for the education requirement, different countries has different requirements. Okay.
Yeah.
Next thing is have an English level, at least functional English level, which is 4.5 in terms of IELTS.
Mhm.
Uh, for some countries, you need to have uh, letter of support. So we are talking about subclass 462. Okay, it's not
Yeah.
417, 462. I'll go for 417. And you must have certain amount to support yourself while you are in Australia. It's usually $5,000. You must meet the health criteria. You must meet the character requirements. There should not be any debt to Australian government. And basically, if you have applied previously for the Australian visa, it must not have been cancelled or refused.
Yeah.
That is for subclass 462, which is first work and holiday visa, right? So
Mhm.
let me go to subclass 417.
And just explain what that is.
So this one is first working holiday visa for people. It's subclass 417. Now, for this one, you must hold the passport of these countries: Belgium, Canada, Republic of Cyprus, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Hong Kong, Republic of Ireland, Italy, Japan, Republic of Korea, Malta, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Taiwan, and the United Kingdom. Okay.
Mhm.
And for this one, if you are from Belgium, you must be on like from age 18 to 30. Canada, it's 18 to 35. Republic of Cyprus, 18 to 30. Denmark, 18 to 35. Estonia, 18 to 30. So it goes on, like it differs in the country list, and the age is different for each different countries. Okay.
What
Now,
about the USA? Can I just jump in here? We get a lot of people from the USA getting in contact with us. What are the conditions around that?
for USA,
Mm.
let me double check.
And thanks for answering the Canada one. We had that one yesterday on TikTok.
I think they have just removed USA right now. Okay, it changes every time. So I
Yeah.
need to double check that. I'll send that information to you, because right now what I can see is it's not there in the list for
Yeah,
UK.
they can just
For
come straight
USA.
over. Yeah.
For USA.
Okay, cool. All right. Do you want to keep going on about the working holiday visa?
Okay, yep. So next thing is, just give me a second where it went. Yep. So next thing is you need to have enough money, which is again $5,000. Meet
Yep.
the health requirement, meet the character requirement, pay your debt to Australian government if you have been here before, and not you must not have the visa cancelled or application refused previously.
Yep.
So those are the criteria for working holiday.
Perfect. Can you explain a wee bit about the medical test? We've had a couple of people asking about what sort of medical is involved.
Yep. Okay. So the medical, you always have to go through the medical check if they request you. Okay. It's not
Mhm.
like you go and take a medical exam and submit that document. So how it works is you will get an HAP ID. Based on your application, it will specify what are the medical exam that you need to do. And
Yeah.
there are places in different part of the world where they provide that service. You just book an appointment with them and go through the check, and it is done basically by the medical officer for the Commonwealth or the appointed medical officer. So
Mhm.
it's not like you go to hospital and you provide the medical check.
Yeah. All right,
Yep.
perfect. Okay, and thanks for that. Tell
Yep.
me, can people apply? I think this is pretty obvious, but can people apply
Yep.
for a visa without a job offer?
Yes, they can. So
Yeah.
you don't need a job offer for to apply a visa. Only some sort of employer sponsor or visas, they need a job offers
Yeah.
or job contract. However, for 417, 462, 189, 190, you don't need any job offer.
Perfect. Now, real specific to the mining industry. Regarding the working holiday visa, what can you just go over the restrictions or
Yeah.
limitations that are involved if somebody does want to go and work in the mines?
Yep. So, okay, for subclass 417, they can work in the mining industry, and it is one of the specified work related to subclass 417.
Mhm.
Uh, However, for the applicant who holds the 417, they can work only 6 months with each employer,
Yeah.
right? And they must work at least 3 months to qualify for another second working holiday visa in the
Mhm.
mining industry or the specified work. So that's how it works.
Yeah.
And for subclass 462 visa, which is work and holiday, uh,
Mhm.
they don't have, they haven't specified they can work in the mining industry. However, they have specified that they can work in the construction industry, right?
Yeah.
So I guess you are the professional in this one. There are construction involved in the mining industry itself, so right.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
as long as they are building the non-residential or non-residential or anything with the construction side, they
Yeah.
will be still eligible for second 460 visa as well.
Perfect. All right, and that leads me into my next question, which we get a lot, and that's about let's say if they're a skilled trade like a Sparky from the UK, what's the easiest way for them to come over and then actually get their qualifications to Australian standards, get potentially recognition of prior learning, so they can go out and be a Sparky? And what's the process for that?
Okay, so you must have, now what we need to understand is what is the criteria. Each qualification may have different RPL recognition. So let me pull out that information for you, okay? How it works for, especially for Sparkies.
Yeah, we got a lot of Sparkies, especially from the UK for some reason. Actually, I'm not surprised.
So electrician general, there
And
is a shortage.
you can do RPL, can't you, Lilash?
Yes, I can do the RPL.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yet another reason, if you're watching this right now, we'll have a link underneath this where you can get direct contact with Lilash so he can go over visa sponsorship, getting recognition of prior learning, everything to streamline you in.
okay, for the electrician, specifically electrician, um, you must either hold AQF level certificate 3, including at least 2 years on the job training, or
Mhm.
AQF certificate 4. Okay, so if you have 3 years of relevant work experience, we can provide you the RPL, at least 3 years. So
Perfect.
basically, if you have 3 years of work experience, we can provide you the RPL. But for the RPL, you need to provide experience letter. Um, if you must have been like paid in the bank, so that we can prove that you have actually worked there. Bank statements,
Yep.
pay slips, tax for at least 3 years.
Yep. Perfect. That was
And we also need the photos, videos, so that we know that we can provide the RPL.
yep. Perfect. All right. Thank you. That's a massive one. Anything else to add on that one?
So Should be, I think that covers all.
Yeah. What about, let's say, ballpark? How much would it be? I've heard some horror stories from clients about crazy expensive cost to get that RPL. What ballpark figure would you think it would be to, let's say, for a Sparky, a trade certified Sparky from the UK or Ireland or the US to then come over? How much would it cost them ballpark to get that RPL?
Okay, now it depends on the RPL itself. Let's suppose the RPL, for RPL we have the set of the set of units, right?
Yeah.
So normally what college does is, or RTO does is, they map the experience and everything with each of the units. Now, if the RPL assessor, they assess the all, if RPL assessor assess the candidate fully, and if they are satisfied that all the evidence match the profile of the candidate, it will cost around $3,500 to $4,000.
Yeah.
Otherwise, now let's suppose if there are some elements missing, what they will do is either they will ask you to do that unit, or maybe provide other evidence. So more you lack the gaps, or more gaps you have, the
Yeah.
cost will increase, and it
Mhm.
might go up to the full fee of the course, right?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that's how it works. So it depends on what are your actual qualification and what are your actual skill, and do they map with the actual qualification in Australia?
Yeah. And can you prove it?
Yes, can you prove it?
Yeah. All right. Perfect. So yeah, that I've had some absolute horror stories where people are just like, you know what, it's too hard, it's going to take too long, and it costs way too much. How long ballpark? Again, this would be I guess how long's a piece of string question, but how long would
Yep.
you find the average person? And I'm going back to electricians again because we just get bombarded with electricians.
Yep.
So how long would it take to actually, if everyone ticks the box, they provide you with the right information, how long would it take to get their Australian set of, like, qualifications?
Within 2 weeks to 1 month.
Perfect. Great. And obviously you're in Sydney. People aren't going to have to come over all the way to Sydney, are they? They can do it via,
No,
if
no,
somebody
no.
was in Perth. Yeah.
So they can see, they can stay at Perth. The RPL assessor from the college, they will, if required, they will contact you via Zoom. They will do the interview if required. All the process will be from the documentation itself. So basically, you don't need to come here and join. Only in certain cases, if it is required to do the capstone, or only in few cases, that is, they may need to come, but not for all.
Yeah.
Only in few cases.
Okay. Fantastic. And tell me, with, like, jumping back to the visas again, how can you
Yep.
explain the differences of the duration of how long somebody can stay in Australia, depending on what visa that they've got, and also about extending or renewing visas, what the process is, how easy is it?
Okay, that's a very huge topic because different visas are different, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'll give you one example from the employer sponsored subclass 482 itself. So
Mhm.
it has three categories, right? The first category is short term. So that visa, subclass 482 short term stream, it's
Yep.
from 1 year to 2 years, maximum 2 years.
Yep.
Medium term, it's up to 4 years. Labor agreement can be up to 4 years. Now, having said that, if you work for same employer for 3 years,
Mhm.
you can go for permanent residency. After that, it's you are permanent resident of the Australia, right? So
Yep.
permanent residency also come with the like duration. However, it is not the visa expiry. Once you get the permanent residency, it's only that you will not have. Let's suppose you have 5 years visa. After
Mhm.
5 years visa, you cannot travel abroad, but you are still safe here.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you very much. That again, I mean, obviously you can't delve into every single specific
Yeah,
situation. So
yeah.
thank you for
It,
that answer. This
it
is
depends on
again,
every visas.
yeah, oh, absolutely. That's so many variations here.
Yep.
All right, well, tell me about, that's pretty straightforward. I'm just going down my list here. There's so much to cover. Tell
Yep.
me about like people who like, can people have their family accompany them? Let's say they get approved for a visa, they can come over and get a job in the mines. Can they have their family come with them?
Yes, for subclass 482, employer is sponsored. For
Hmm.
GSM, they can have their family come around with them. For
Yep.
417 and 462, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, no worries. And what about visa options for family members?
It's same subclass 482,
Hmm.
and it will be same. They will have same condition. For what what I want to highlight here is, if you are working in subclass 482 visa, you cannot work for another sponsor until and unless they sponsor you, right? But for the subsequent entrant or the for the family member, there is no limitation.
Okay, perfect. So can the spouse or let's say the partner or the children work or study in Australia? No problem?
No problem. For the for the children, they must be under 18, right?
Hmm.
And
Yep,
if they are above 18, there are some certain criteria they must fulfill, as like for a dependent child.
yep.
And if they are more than 23, unfortunately, they there is a different history with that. So we may go through that in the later videos or later
Yeah,
time.
beautiful. Thank you very much. And let's talk about the health check again. I know that we briefly touched on it,
Yep.
but are there any specific checks or that's for associated with different visas, or is there just a generic medical? And how is that done? Like, does the person get the form and then they go off to their own doctor, or yeah? Can you explain
It's
a bit about that?
okay. It's not with our own doctor. So normally what happens is, when we apply the visa, uh, TB will be checked through the X-ray. There might be some blood test as well. They also check your physical, right?
Yep.
Um, there will be urine test, and it depends on specific visas as well. For
Yep.
482 temporary visa, there might not be the extensive health check. However, for permanent visa, there may be a full extensive medical check, right? So
Hmm.
what happens is, when we apply for the visa, once we apply for the visa, what will they do is, they will provide the specific tests,
Yep.
depending upon what are the things you have selected during your health declaration. So once
Hmm.
you declare your health, what health you do the health declaration, it will automatically provide you all the medical checks that needs to be done. Now once you get that one, can I share my screen?
Yeah, of course.
Just give me a second.
All yours.
Panel for health check.
While you're doing that, just quickly,
Yep.
ballpark, what are the
Yep.
costs involved in getting, let's say, a standard working holiday visa?
Okay. I'll come back that to to that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So arranging the health examination in Australia, it is provided by Bupa Medical Services. Outside Australia,
Mhm.
we can go here, and it provides. Let's suppose we are in India, right? So
Yeah,
panel physicians. So they have different. There are different providers who does the medical check,
perfect.
and you go here, book your appointment, and do your health check. It's not like you have a doctor, you go there and check. Okay.
Yeah. And obviously these would vary country to country, but
Yeah.
what sort of costs would be involved in doing that medical?
It
Or is
depends
it,
on the country. For I know about Nepal, it cost around 10,000 Nepalese rupees.
yeah,
India should be similar. In Australia, it's around $400 right now.
yeah.
So it depends on the physician itself and country profile itself. So there are lots of variable factors over here.
Yeah. And let's go back to Australia again. Let's say the visa is approved. Are the costs tax deductible once the candidate starts working?
Unfortunately, no.
Ah, okay.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
No worries at all. There's so much for this. So yeah, let's go back to the costs ballpark for
Yeah.
let's say I'm in Ireland and I want to go and apply for a visa. What sort of costs would that candidate be looking at, depending?
Okay. For 416 visa, right?
Yeah.
417. Just give me a second.
Sorry, these are probably real specific questions that you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, have to find that info.
Yeah. I need to find that information. 7. So the visa cost itself is $650, which is department cost, and you just add 1.4% for the surcharge. Migration agent fee, if you want to involve us with the migration as a migration agent, we normally charge $750 for each application. If you are onshore, it's with GST 750 plus 10%, it's around $825. If you are offshore, we don't charge GST for you, so it's $750 for 417 visa.
Yeah, perfect. And any other costs besides, let's say, the cost of migration agent, potentially the medical, anything else that somebody needs to, like, what are the general? I know this would be, again, it would vary from country to country, but
Yeah.
like visa application, is there just sort of a standardized fee?
The cost for translation, maybe
Yeah.
cost for police checks, cost for medical,
Mhm.
cost for health insurance if applicable. Most probably you should take a health insurance if you are working here.
Yeah.
It will save you in different situation,
Mhm.
and air tickets, pretty much that
Yeah.
covers.
That 5 grand should probably be a little
Yep.
bit more than that. It sounds a bit,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a big process coming from another country, 100%.
Yes.
And what should somebody do if what's somebody's options if they go to apply and they get refused or denied a
So,
visa?
okay, if you are offshore, we don't have any option. Unfortunately, we don't have any option. Uh, so if you are outside the Australia, sorry to say, there is no option. We should not pursue that, right? Maybe after 5 6 years, maybe if your circumstances change fully, then you apply. Okay, we don't want anyone to go and apply straight after refusal, right?
Yeah.
So once it is refused, until and unless there's a circumstantial changes, don't reapply. Now,
Okay.
if you are onshore within Australia, if your visa is refused and if you have applied visa onshore, you can go to AAT. Based on the merit of your case, AAT might set aside your case or grant you. AAT normally doesn't grant the visa. However, they may remit the case.
Yeah. Okay. And ballpark, let's say if somebody's adamant, that's it, I want to come over, and they get refused, is there a certain waiting period that you would suggest, or it would just be a complete change of circumstances when the person would have to wait for that to happen and then potentially reapply?
Look, for my suggestion is, as a migration agent, what I have seen is people do panic. Maybe try a different visa other than the same subclass.
Yeah. Okay.
Gain more
That,
experience. Do more research. So that whatever whatever reason, by whatever main reason it was refused, you tend to eradicate that from your visa application itself and go for the new visa. So it will take time. Normally it will take time to remove all those shortcomings in your visa application, but however, I would not suggest anyone to go. If it's refused, at least wait for 2-3 years so that you can change your experience, maybe work out on the shortcomings part where there is where your visa was refused. And even you can try for GSM visa, because we have longer wait time for GSM visa, as we need to get the invitation, everything.
Yeah.
Or you can
And,
apply for 482 visa as well if you find the sponsor.
and do you find, like, what would be the main reason, obviously character and potentially failing medicals and stuff like that, but what would be the main reason why somebody would be denied a visa?
Basically not meeting the requirement of the visa itself, right? So medical character, more if you have like character issues, or if you have the substantial character records, it's obvious that your visa will be refused, right? Other
Yeah.
than that, there are lots of different things, like for example, your qualification or your skill assessment may not match, right? So maybe the sometimes, if for like for example a 485 visa, which is a graduate stream visa, you may not have the police check before applying the visa. So the small things that can go wrong with the visa application itself. It might be the false information that you have provided. There are lots of things that can go wrong in the visa application.
Yeah. And would you say, I mean, just so people can't mess it up, it would
Yeah.
most likely be an easier scenario to go through a migration agent like yourself, so that you can say, look, you need this, this, and this, go off and get that before we actually submit everything. Would that
Yes,
be
because
accurate?
because uh, why we do that is to be secure, and to, like, we normally do check and advise you upfront rather than going for visa refusal and having that refusal in your records. Instead of that, we will suggest you prior, okay, right now it's not the best time to apply for your visa, you may wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, government also, our Department of Home Affairs also has provided the information about registered migration agent, lawyers who can help with the visa application. I will just share my screen
Yeah.
to show you that part. Just give me a second.
You must just go down the rabbit hole with all this information that you've got access to there, Lilash. Like, oh, now I need to, this specific visa or
Yeah,
circumstances.
it's heaps of
But
things.
thank God you're on with us now.
Yep. So this only this video podcast, or it's not enough for all the information that we go through.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I swear those are the most asked questions that we get. And I'm like, mate, we are not visa specialists or sponsorship. Go to Lilash.
Yep. Sure. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's just come up.
Okay. So who can help you with your application? So overview. Let's go overview. A registered migration agent, or legal practitioner, or an exempt person. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we go to registered migration agent, someone like me, we cannot fast track your processing period. We cannot guarantee you a visa. However, what we can do is we can make sure that the expectation of outcome is much better, realistic, and we can say, okay, no, you cannot apply for this visa. Simple. Yep. Give the real.
So
Yep.
agree. And so for anyone who's contemplating doing it by yourself, yes, you can, but just know that you've got a higher chance of it actually not
Yes.
going through, depending. So sometimes it's just easier to go to somebody who's a professional, who knows the law in and out, and just get it done that way.
Yep. So
All right,
you
cool.
can you can also report unlawful or unethical operators as well. So there are, I can say that there are lots of visa which has not been applied with the help of migration agent, and lots of people they uh, tend to have lost their money. They have been scammed overseas.
Yeah,
They can still report that unofficial or unethical practices in nearest overseas offices. Okay. Next one is exempt person. So exempt person can be your nominator, your sponsor, your close family member, a parliamentarian, or diplomatic mission, a member from a diplomatic mission, a member of consular post, or a member of international organization. Those are the people who are exempt. Okay.
mhm,
So close family member means your family member within your reach, not like cousins
yeah,
or parents within your own family.
yeah. But would you really recommend that over somebody who might, I mean, somebody like that, I mean, going to your family member, they might not be 100% up on all the
Yes.
legislation, and that's one of the big things I find.
Yep. So normally I would suggest everyone to either use legal practitioner or registered migration agent, so that we normally update ourselves with the upcoming
Sure.
laws or changes that is always happening. So
Hmm.
one example, last time the in July 1st, Philippines was added in 462 visa. However, after 2 days, it was already been removed. Right.
Oh,
So
wow.
those sort of things we always update ourselves with those sort of things. So it's better to go with the registered migration agent.
Yeah. And price wise for the legal practitioner, what ballpark would you be looking at for that?
So if you go with the legal practitioner for even 417 visa, it's gonna cost you more than $1,500
Yeah,
or
I'll bet.
more.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, that's all right. Anyone who's watching this will be coming to you anyway,
Yep.
so that's all good. All right, I am aware of the time, so we'll
Yep.
just keep going with the questions. Right,
Yep.
let's talk sponsorship. This is a massive one. And
Yep.
before we get to the benefits of the candidate, which we already know what they are,
Yep.
let's talk about from the employer's point of view. What are some of the benefits, obviously, besides having a skilled worker, of potentially exploring the sponsorship avenue? And do you know of many employers that actually go down that track?
Sorry, I didn't understand your question.
Oh,
Can you
sorry.
repeat the question?
Yeah, go for it. I probably had too much coffee today.
Yeah.
Tell me about okay, so we're talking about the advantages from an employer's perspective when it comes to potentially sponsoring a candidate. Are there any financial incentives or, yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
For sponsors, they can always claim that in tax itself.
Yeah.
First, right? So financial benefit, as such for employees, the special financial benefits, if I talk about, I'll not say that because there is a shortage in the industry for many things or many professionals.
Mhm.
It's easier to find overseas as well because we already have shortage here. So
Yeah.
um, technically, I'm not in that part of the thing where to do the financial analysis for the employers itself. I can say yes, there is shortage. We can get the people from overseas, which can be done. And however, the employer should always know that you must pay your nominee almost equal amount as the worker who are working in Australia or Australian citizen or permanent resident. So there is nothing like
You
there
pay
is
them
a
half price.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't
Yeah.
work like that. So our Australian government, Department of Home Affairs, has, and even the law itself says that you must protect the employee, right?
Yeah.
So to become a sponsor, you need to follow the sponsorship obligations.
Mhm.
You must not have adverse information. You must pay equal no salary or remuneration to your all workers. Like for example, if there is a Australian chef who is earning 75,000, and if somebody in same organization, if they are hiring or they are nominating a new chef for the subclass 482 visa, at least the sponsorship for them or the remuneration for them should be 75,000
Yeah.
at least. Okay, and it
Yeah.
cannot go up as well because you are paying less for your Australians. So it should match the Australian salary market rate,
Well, that's good
basically.
to know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So no real financial benefits apart from the fact that you've got a bigger, I guess, database of skilled candidates that you can pull
Yes.
forward from,
Yes.
should I say? All
Yes.
right, perfect. And what's the process for from the employer's side to actually sponsor a candidate?
Okay, so from the sponsor side, they need to have standard business sponsorship ready. We need to lodge that application with the um, Department of Home Affairs. It's same as lodging a visa, but
Mhm.
for the sponsor, it's SBS. Once you have the SBS, it lasts up to 5 years, and it's around $450 for SBS itself.
Yep.
And there are lots of things with that professional fees. I'll in the next podcast or in the next video, what I'll do is I'll prepare each detailed list. What are the costs involved? What are the things required for the sponsor to become a sponsor? Who can
Yep.
become a sponsor? I'll do that on the next video.
Fantastic.
After that, there is the nomination process. Before nomination process, you need to do the labor market testing, which and it depends on the employer or nominee as well. Let's suppose if you are working, if your employee is working for with you for like last 2 years, they may be exempt from the no LMT itself. Big and okay, how do I put this together? Uh, because
Feel free.
there are lots of ITO exemption as well, which is international trade obligation exemption as well. So if that applies, LMT may not be required. So it depends on what are the things and what are the specific of each person or each visa applicant or each nominees. So it depends. There are lots of variables to connect the dots. Okay, so that's
Next
one example.
podcast.
Yeah, different podcasts. There are lots of things because if I start talking about the 482 visa only, it will be like more than 3 or 4 hours long.
Oh, okay, let's not do that.
Yep.
We'll just do that as one podcast
Yep,
then, I
one
think.
postcard. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Let's just keep going then. What documents are required for a work visa application? Or sorry, for the sponsorship side. So what documents does the employer need to submit when they do want to sponsor a
Okay.
candidate?
For SBS, you need to have company registration documents, financial letter from the accountant, and the yeah, all those sort of things, which shows that your company is viable for the sponsorship.
Mhm.
During the nomination, they need to provide all the documents regarding like LMT, ASMR, all those sort of things. So
Yeah.
we help to prepare those documents. In terms of visa applicants, they need to have their passport identity document, which is necessary, education, qualification, work experience, pay slips, all those sort of things.
Yep.
So it depends on its personal or SBS. It's different checklist. So there are heaps of checklists.
Yep. All right, perfect. And tell me, when it comes to employers sponsoring a candidate,
Yeah.
are there any age limits or restrictions, or would it be very similar to like a standard, let's say, working holiday visa?
Okay, for 482 visa, specifically for 482 visa, there is no limitation of age. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
That was easy.
Yep.
Okay. That's pretty straightforward. And from the candidate's perspective, what are they, let's say a candidate wants to get sponsorship potentially in the mines in Australia or wherever, what steps do they have to take in order to actually potentially make that happen?
Okay. First thing first, they need to find a sponsor itself, right?
Mhm.
So once you find the sponsor,
Yeah.
they will nominate you, visa application, simple. So first thing, you need to have someone who can sponsor you. Basically, it's a job search. If you find the sponsor, they will nominate you, and it goes with the visa application straight away.
Yeah. Okay.
So the time frame for the nomination, everything to be approved is once you find the sponsor, they will get the SBS. Maybe they have the SBS ready. So you go for LMT, which is minimum 28 days if you go for LMT, right? Once that has been done, then the nomination will start. Once you lodge the application for nomination, you can straight away lodge the visa. So you can lodge the visa and nomination at the same time.
Yeah. And is there some sort of website where employers can go to say, yes, I'm potentially open to sponsoring a candidate that candidates can have a look at?
Okay. At this stage, Western Australia does have the skill migrant program for Perth and subsequent area. However, I haven't noticed for with any other states. Right now, it's with Western Australia. You can go through the website. I can send you the website if you would like.
Perfect.
Uh,
That's all right. Just send it on and we'll after
Yep,
this and I'll chuck a link down in the bottom of this video.
sure.
All right, fantastic. And that's pretty straightforward for the sponsorship questions. Let's quickly just jump onto permanent residency, another
Yep.
thing that is constantly coming up. So can I apply for permanent residency through my work in the mining industry?
Okay. So let's see. For starting from employer sponsored, there is a permanent residency for with the employer sponsored. It is one subclass 186 employer sponsored.
Yeah.
So in that one, you need to have at least 3 years of work experience for direct entry, and depending upon the occupation or NZEX code, you may be eligible for direct entry, or you may go through the TRT, which is transition.
Mhm.
You apply through the 482, then through the transition, you go for the 186, right? Now there is different option. Another option is general skill migration program, which is GSM. You meet the point test, wait for your invitation, and go for the PR, permanent residence.
Yeah, sounds pretty easy. All right, that's pretty straightforward then. How long generally does a candidate need to be working in Australia before they can potentially go off and apply for permanent residency?
There's no time limit if you are applying for GSM category, which is
Yep.
189, 190, and 491. There is no time limit as long as you meet the point test system and you meet the you receive the invitation, you can straight away apply. For 186, it's you must have at least 3 years of work experience in the related NZESCO code. Having said that, it depends on each occupation if you are eligible for 186 direct entry or not. Otherwise, you need to go through the 482 TRT option. Okay, and yeah, it basically 3 years time, 3 to 4 years time.
Okay, perfect. And what support is available for employers when it comes to the visa and sponsorship application process?
With me.
Yeah.
Okay, so we help you with the SBS standard business sponsorship. We will help you with the nomination. We will help you with the LMT process to get the visa, to get the nomination sorted from your side. Now, regarding the visa application, either visa applicant, they can pay for their visa application and our professional fee, or you as an employer, as you are employee sponsoring your employer, you can pay that fee as well. Now for the employers, you along with during the nomination time, along with the nomination fee, you need to pay the staff levy as well. So if your company is less, there is a bracket, so there is like $1,200 per year and $1,800 per year limit. So it depends on which category you are in. So that's an extra cost which employers normally do bear. And as long as I think you have the good candidate or good employee, it should be fine for the employers as well.
Yeah, perfect. And when it comes to those, if an employer does opt to pay for the sponsorship fees and the visa fees on behalf of a candidate that they want, is there some sort of tax deduction or
Yeah, you
exemption
can
that can
deduct.
come?
It's still a you are paying for your company, right? It's still tax deductible. You can show it in your tax. It's same like
Great.
paying the fee, like salary for your employee. So
Yeah,
it's always tax deductible.
fantastic.
However,
Yeah,
sponsors should not take any money from the employee or the nominee.
yeah. Well, I hope not. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's some that try.
So it's actually offensible, and it should not happen. So there is a regulation 2.45 AR or something
Yeah.
something
So
like that.
if you're watching, an employer has sponsored you to come over here, and now they're asking you for money back, definitely get in contact with Lilash and his team, because
Yeah.
that is illegal.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And final
Do not
question. Yeah, sorry.
do not pay your employer for your sponsorship. Simple.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And thank you so much for your time, Lilash. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Final question that we've had
Yep.
sent in is, are there relocation packages or support services provided by the employers for employees when it comes to housing, potential, and all the other costs that are associated with a candidate coming over here for work?
Okay, it would really depends upon you and your sponsor who is sponsoring you, how you negotiate. If in case of relocating, if your sponsor is willing to relocate you, I think it would be great benefit for you. But it depends on your negotiation skill and what your employer is really offering you.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. That's pretty straight to the point. So thank you very much. Cool. All right, this has been an epic hour, Lilash. Thank you so
Thank
much for your
you.
time. Is there anything that you think would be that we haven't gone over in this really in-depth interview so far, as to what, like, key information that you think a candidate or even an employer might need to know when it comes to sponsorships, visas, RPL?
Yeah, because it's so big topic, big topic. So normally what I do is one visa and go for one visa at one time. It's like everything in one plate. So
I know.
much
No,
more.
it's fine. You've done really well, because these are questions that we just get bombarded with, and I'm seriously, I have no idea. I'm getting somebody on, so thank God we've got you on board now.
Yep.
Look, that's pretty much it. Firstly, I just want to thank Lilash. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you to all the people who have dropped these questions in. Hopefully, this has answered everything. If you have more, get in contact with us. All of the links are going to be underneath this video. There's also going to be a link where you can contact Lilash directly, right? Don't ask me questions. I don't know, apart from what Lilash has just overwhelmed me with information right now. He is the man, and we're going to direct you to him anyway. So we're going to have links there. You can always book in with us. The process with how we work is, we direct you to Lilash if you need any information on sponsorship, visas, RPL. Once he's worked his magic, we come in. So if you are trying to get a job within the mining industry, we take over after you have all of your boxes ticked up from Lilash. So that's how we work this, to help you to support you to achieve your goals. So Lilash, any last words before I let you go back to your busy day?
Best of luck for your visa application and RPL. we are here to help you. If you have any questions or any queries, you can shoot me up with the link. Thank you, Alana, for inviting me with this podcast.
You are so welcome, and thank you for brain dumping all that on
Thanks.
everyone. Okay, cool. Lilash, thank you so much. To everyone
Thank
watching,
you.
thank you so much. Chuck in any questions that you've got about anything to do with getting the mining, recruitment, career
Yep.
consultation, visas, whatever, and we will go out of our way to answer it for you. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. And Lilash, thank you so much. You're going to be a busy
Thank you,
boy.
Alana. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.